Happy Monday, y'all. It's the Real AG here, back at you again on the Lockdown Defense Sports Network. And as we, just keep quickly approaching the 2025 NFL Draft here in Green Bay. Hopefully, you guys caught our content last week, kind of as a prep primer, if you will, reviewing, our list of potential sleeper candidates on the offensive side of the ball. As you guys know, new week, new content. We are kind of continuing down this primer setup for the draft by reviewing, potential sleepers on the other side of the coin, the bad side, if you will, with the defensive side of the ball. So excited to be kicking off this week of content for you guys, covering our first little wave of defensive sleepers. As I hope you guys know at this point, me being the former college center, offensive line, naturally that makes me the trenches guy, baby. So what we are going to be reviewing today is the interior defensive linemen in this draft class, and guys that I think are just not getting as much praise or are just not really getting talked about enough at this stage, based on what they did in the combines or pro days or just, through their college resume. I think I need to start off by just stating, top to bottom, this defensive line class is insanely deep, insanely athletic, a lot of just freaks out there. Honestly, I think running back and just D-line and interior D-line are the strengths of this class. So, with that being said, there's just naturally going to be guys that in a different year, maybe way higher on the draft board. And just things of that nature, just given how deep this class is. But I mean, that's a great problem to have if you're an NFL GM or an NFL team in need of some interior defensive line help. So with that little preface for you guys, let's just jump right into, my list of 5 sleepers on the interior defensive line. So first and foremost up here on the list, we got big dog Vernon Broughton, D tackle out of Texas. See the measurables, 6'5", 311. Just a land shark, as you see, mowing down this poor Colorado State QB. But, I think the thing with Broughton is he just kind of is naturally underrated at Texas, playing behind Alfred Collins and Colin Simmons. But, Broughton himself pretty much provided the Longhorns with steady, interior run play across the board, across all of the 2024. What he earned, 86.1 PFF grade, 29 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, but damn near 80 PFF rush grade, and, had 26 hurries playing as that 3 tech. So, I think he's partially getting knocked just because of who he played behind. And he's also dealing with a quad strain or quad type injury that pretty much kept him out of the combine and Texas's pro day. But, I feel he's shown, first step quickness and above average range as that 3 tech tackler that, I think he could pretty much contribute right out of the gate, at least in terms of the run defense and, in the right situation, I think could flourish, more as a pass rusher. So, that's a little overview on our man Vernon Broughton down in Texas. Moving on our list here, we got Big Cat CJ West, defensive tackle out of Indiana, really out of Kent State, transferred to Indiana. He's certainly getting some pre-draft praise, but I don't think enough for just what this cat did, through his college time. Like I said, transfer from Kent State, to Indiana, moving to the Big Ten, what was supposed to be kind of a challenge for him. And the dude just showed up and, just ate, if you will, in the Big Ten. And I think really just that alone's getting slept on. I mean, he's an absolute menace for Indiana as a run stopper. Was PFF's one of their top graded, most dominating interior D-line presences. Only had 2 sacks, but had 25 QB pressures. So ultimately, I mean, I see CJ West here kind of being like a Poona Ford or a Thrashawn Wharton, if you will, where he just has the tools to get upfield and, be more disruptive when he's isolated on the centers are the guards. And just looking at what Wes has done again, absolute menace for Indiana, dominating Big Ten football. Just an absolutely elite combine. I mean, ran a 4.9540, 1.7 10-yard split, and a 33-inch vertical. I mean, a dude that's 6'1", 316 has no business, if you will, moving like that. So, I mean, that's getting slept on enough, more too. I mean, just bottom line, CJ West, in my opinion, is just that classic inside bruiser, with enough quickness and sort of closing pop, if you will, that he could be an effective starter pretty much right out of the gate. And, with the likes of some other guys and where they're getting picked, I think CJ West is someone most certainly getting slept on right now. Continuing down the list, you kind of notice the theme. Some of these guys getting slept on is just because of who they played behind, but that doesn't mean they don't bring something to the table themselves. But third on the list here, we got Jamari Caldwell, defensive tackle out of Oregon or Oregon, depending on where you're located. Look at the measurables: 6'2", 332. Kind of like I said, like Broughton, like our boy Broughton in Texas. Caldwell, had the benefit, if you will, or the detriment of playing in the shadows, behind a Derek Harmon or a Jordan Birch. Obviously, Derek Harmon is a projected first-round pick. Birch, day 2, second, third round guy. But Caldwell himself built like a straight bowling ball. It is a shockingly quick and athletic nose guard. Again, 6'2", 332, had a 5.1640, 1.8 10-yard split. I mean, again, has no business moving like that. I think when you watch him on film, you see, he's obviously a hard-nosed, run-stuffing nose guard, but, has shown flashes, of a solid bull rush move, and I think a spin counter, in dealing with his pass pro. So, bottom line for Caldwell, he's just a difficult guy to move in the run game. I think it was a graded 81 plus, PFF grade over the last 3 seasons, 29 tackles, 5 TFLs, a forced fumble, and 3 passes defended, last year. Again, I think he's getting slept on what he could provide, based on just Derek Harmon and Birch being there. But Caldwell, I think, with the right situation, has chances to flourish as well. Continuing down our list here, this is one I'm excited about. We got Deion Walker, the defensive tackle out of Kentucky. And, as I talked about some offensive linemen last week, Deion Walker certainly gets the title of what we call in the business as being an absolute unit. At 6'7", 331, no D tackle has any business being that big. He certainly has shown flashes as being a elite-esque interior pass rushing, disruptor. Had 7.5 sacks in 2023. Ultimately finished 2024 with 37 tackles, 5 tackle for losses, sack and a half. And, not really an overly impressive combine or athletic measurements, but the old adage goes, and it still lives true to this day: you cannot teach size. You cannot find just any 6'7", 330-pound D tackle that, has the ability to just overwhelm offensive linemen just with sheer size and physical strengths, and, can create a clear and a quick pathway in the pocket to the quarterback if they just use their length and arm. So, again, can't teach size. Dude's shown that he can be a unit. He is a unit. I think he's getting slept on, guys. Like, it just is what it is. And to round things out on our interior D line sleepers, I got the old dog, the guy bringing in his walker here, in 6th-year senior. That's right, 6th year. You know what we call people that go to school for more than 4? Doctors. But anyways, we got the 6th-year senior Joe Evans out of UTSA. Similar to the build of Caldwell or West, he's kind of just a big hard-nosed bulldog and, smaller frame, bigger base with the 320 esque range, but only played in 5 games in 2023. Suffered a knee injury. He is a former LSU recruit that kind of had to transfer his way down to the Roadrunners. Um, Obviously, didn't do the combine dealing with the knee injury, but he did get measured at UTSA's pro day and hit 28 reps on the bench, which would be second most for any interior D lineman in this class. I get it. I'm not overly huge on the bench press either, guys. I mean, it's a cool thing to say you did, but in my opinion, really does not translate all that well to success in terms of offensive defensive line. But considering that Big Cat can bench 225 28 times, I mean, it's not too far fetched to know just looking at his film that he can be overpowering, at the point of attack, and is honestly pretty quick twitched in rather short bursts. So, again, dealing with injury concerns, a little bit on the older side, but I think was overly productive at UTSA. And I think, if the medical checks out, he could have been being a real steal for someone, you know, in the 7th round, or a UDFA type guy, just off of the experience and abilities he's put forth on film. So that kind of rounds out our little primer, getting you ready for the draft, looking at interior defensive line sleepers. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. Get at all of us here at the Lockdown Defense Sport Network across all social media platforms, or just Twitter for one very specific insider we have. But either way, please get at us. And if you're looking for more content for just the show itself, you can also find the Lockdown Defense Sport Network pretty much across any sort of place that you can access with internet. So please be sure to get out all those pages, follow the pages, like the content, and just let us know, if you agree, disagree, like what we're doing. Just let us know, guys. Like, we are here to give you the content, talk more about football, and just get things going, baby. But until next time, I'm the real AG. Hope we continue to work on our draft priming, and talk to y'all later.